Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and today's episode, we're going to get into a little bit of a topic about basically how did we get our images and our pictures to do the different things that we do graphically, okay? So I'm going to cover one sort of avenue or venue that we used, and one particular example of what we did with those images and what we used them for, and that's for sort of one of the sources. Okay, so the sources that I'm going to cover in this particular episode is what we refer to as Lami boards. Okay, now I've covered what a Lami board is. Okay, it's one of these sort of writing boards or whatever that you use to use in your notebooks when basically you're writing in your notebook and you don't want to write so hard that your pen imprints into the next page. So what you do is you use a Lami board. So a Lami board basically is a sort of a plastic board. So it's kind of a hard sort of thin texture. Usually it's got an animated picture on the front and sort of a dull sort of less image on the back. Usually they might have some extra written text on there. And the idea is that when you write on your notepad or your exercise book, okay, if you write too hard on your notebook like this, the imprint goes right onto the back part. Of course, you won't be able to see this because I'm not using carbon paper to actually show you where my imprints are. That will show up on there. So what you do is you slip your Lami board underneath it, so then when you write on your surface here, your impression won't show up on the bottom sheet. That's the idea of how a Lami board is supposed to work. Anyway, so obviously, going to university at this time, the only sort of sized exercise book or that kind of stuff is basically our chemistry lab books and that kind of stuff. They had graph paper on the backside of them anyway, but so never really use that kind of stuff for that purpose. But these things were nice because they had nice pictures on. So basically, I want to go through a couple of the ones I got in this stack here that we used, and then I'm going to show you some of the examples of things that would have been made or came up out of these things. So the first that I want to start off with is this one for Steel Angel Recruiter Me. Okay, so I got actually two of them here. I got one for one in the sort of the animated form version, and I also got one in the shall we say manga version. Okay, so kind of need one of that one again, cleaner version of that one. Okay, this is another really classic one. This is for an anime called Dragon Fist. Okay. So very. This is one of those very first animations that sort of came out in the very early ages, 1989 or something like that. Really, really early. I remember seeing it. We did fan sub this one a long time ago. So again, if you're looking for a one-shot anime, Dragon Fist. Okay. This one here is for Slayer's Try. Okay. And this is sort of an example of how it would look on the back. Okay, and this one still has the price marking on it. This is the indication that part of the reason why these Lami boards are so popular and so good and so easy to use as images, they didn't cost very much. Okay, if you look at the Japanese retail of this particular Slayer's one it is $250. Okay, so. Or so 250, right? So 250 yen. $2.50 US is probably the going exchange rate. And and when I bought this at the con, I don't know if you can see that, $3.40. So not 100% markup like I'm usually used to paying, but it's still a good decent markup. But the thing is that it's only like $3.40. Whatever. I'll pay that, sure. And you get a nice picture of Lena Universe there, and that's really good. That's really nice. Okay, and there's a couple here. I got one here for from Galaxy Frontline Yuna. Okay, so this one I had to pay $6 for, which is still very reasonable price for the for a Lami board of this kind of nature. And again, this has a a different kind of cover in the back there for Yuna. Okay, and here's another one. Here's a different one for Yuna as well. Okay, different sort of artwork on the back half there. Okay. That's another really popular one. Yeah, one for Rurouni Kenshin. Okay. Yeah. A different sort of just as it. Usually a different picture, but usually it's not in color, or they'll usually have some written up text or something that kind of stuff in there. Must have very okay. Oh yeah, there's here's another couple Kenshin ones here. So here's another. See, and then another nice thing about it is these are said really sharp and colorful, and the image quality is really they always pick nice usually pretty nice pictures not just plain here's a shot from the manga in black and white type of thing. It's nice and usually colorful, usually fairly detailed. Usually these are like covers or for like laser discs or that kind of media kind of thing. Okay, here's a set of card capper Sakura ones here. Okay, that's that one, and there's no nice sort of Tomomo Sakura picture there, and then there's a sort of sort of a more everyone picture sort of here on that one there, and I said a more plain version of Sakura on the back there. And the neat thing about this is that just about everything and anything is available on Lami boards. As soon as there's a particular favorite anime that came out, then it comes out. And everyone usually ends up with a series of I bought a lot of them, but some of them my favorite ones are things like Orange Road and that kind of stuff, because those ones were the first ones that I had, obviously, right? And as you said, there's Zordon. Yes, you bought Yu Yu Hakusho. Okay, that was your first one that you bought, and of course, same thing with me. When I first bought them, I think Orange Road, Maison Ikkaku, those were really popular ones. That I remember I bought the odd Sailor Moon one, but my favorite character was Sailor Mars, so I kind of stuck to her. So that's just me. Here you go. There's a one for Infinite Drivius. Okay. So that was a cool sort of the interesting strip that stuff on that one there, and even here's one for battle athletes. Okay. So you can see the again very nice quality sort of a lot of action scenes and that kind of stuff. Sometimes a lot of character shots. It's very nice. This is a kind of a nice one that I picked up because it's what they first. It's one of the very few double-sided ones. It's one for Slayers. Okay, so here you have a picture of Lee and Garori in the back, sort of thing, which is interesting because what you do is when you flip the picture around, it's the other way around. It's the Garori, Lena, and who knows what happened right there? Okay, so that can give you sort of a possible thing that happened between Gauri and Lena. Who knows? So so as you can see, so at a time on the internet, okay. Again, we're talking like 1995, 98. Okay, the internet experience is obviously is nowhere near the way it is now. Obviously, you're talking about a version of Windows that has a really strange version of Internet Explorer. I'm sure a lot of you were using Netscape Navigator at this time. You're using your telephone lines to dial up AOL or a dial-up service in order to get online to just do even your basic browsing. Now, of course, if you found something that was nice, like a picture or maybe something that comes off of like a IRC or something, then it would still take you a good few minutes to download it into your computer, and even at that, it's the resolution of your screen, 640 by 480 or whatever, 800 by 600, and it'd be your background screen that you'd use for your computer. So, nice enough for that, but not nice enough to actually print and use on something. Okay, so that brings me to my next topic. Okay, so you got all these nice pictures and that kind of stuff. You got images and whatnot you can use them for. What would you use them for? Okay, so my example that I want to use them for is T-shirts. Okay, because again, we're coming from an era where, okay, anime was this really really subculture type thing. It's very very far and below the popular media, right? So you couldn't go out and say, hey, I like to get a Macross T-shirt or whatever. You can't, or because no one would have one, right? No one wouldn't even know what it is, right? So a lot of people, what they do is they would get a picture of some sort, and using at this time the A sheet, B sheet, the stamping lamination process, we'd make T-shirts. So back in this time, I had basically gone down to the different stores and basically got cool little T-shirts made up of all the different sort of things. Okay, and I do still have a whole pile of them. Okay, this is one for my vampire. Let me back up a little bit. So this would be like for Vampire Princess Mew. Okay, again, that's one of the earlier again for the early animes that I had there. Okay, again, Orange Road was one of my favorites, so that's my Orange Road T-shirt for Madoka. That's one of the next pictures. That one. What else I have here? Okay, there we go. This is one for the T-shirt I made for Ixir 1. Okay, and this is for the original OAVA series, so not Ixir 3 or that kind of weird horrible sequel thing, but yeah, the original Ixir 1, which is like really really good, a really popular one. Okay, okay, this is another one. This one that obviously that's a very. I remember this one came off one of the Lami boards, but yeah, Gunsmith Cats. Okay, that's another popular anime that came out. And so basically, yes, as we found some really good images and that kind of stuff, we wanted to wear T-shirts and that kind of stuff for, for occasions and that kind of stuff when we go to cons and whatnot. There you go. There's for the Dirty Pair, all right. And but again, like anything, you go to like a Comic Con or whatever, you can get all the Superman and Spider-Mans and all that kind of stuff, and you can get con T-shirts and that kind of stuff for the con or whatnot, and all that stuff. It was easy to get because they were making and printing those ones out. That's fine. Okay, so here's another good example of getting a T-shirt from a source, right? So here's the manga for You're Under Arrest, and it's, of course, you can tell it's from the manga because it's issue number 3. So this is literally the front cover of a manga that we had to pull this one off of the crop, the crop and that kind of stuff. So this is You're Under Arrest, the manga. Okay. And that sort of started at the very beginning. What happens if you wanted a Macross T-shirt? Well, you couldn't, buy one because no one was making them. So you basically had to make your own Macross T-shirt. So again, got I think this is the flashback 2012 video or something like that. I had to pull this one off that to get that cover for that. And so yeah, so basically, that was one of the really popular things that sort of happened at this time, was you needed images in order to get that sort of thing put onto a shirt. Now, I'm not gonna build a separate episode for this yet because I'm still working on it, but I may as well just show you just sort of a teaser to that. t-shirts weren't the only thing that we were making at that time. When I was doing Arctic animation, one of the other things that we ended up making, especially when we went down to the Comic Con back in San Diego Comic Con and Anime America to 1995. Okay, wanted to make sure that we had jackets. So here was a pre-run jacket that we decided to make, and so it's basically a standard baseball type of jacket. Okay, had basically Arctic animation. Let's see. Yeah, I think you can kind of see it here. I had the there you go. Had the Arctic animation logo done up in the front. We each had our positions and that kind of stuff written on the back. So in my case, I was the subtitler. So I made a subtitler back part to it as my title. For example, Dice Gate would have the translator icon, and then Rob and Chad and a few other guys would have the editor tags on it. Okay, and then each of our jackets would actually have our name also embroidered onto the jacket. Okay, now so this is the sort of you can think of it, so the name would be on this side, and the logo and that stuff would be on this side. Okay, now the thing now about this is that that the back was still entirely empty. Okay, we were still deciding at this time, this was the format on how we were going to make the jacket. We were just looking for an image to put onto the back of the jacket, and that's why maybe when I finish getting one of the people who has my jacket, or I find that jacket, then I'll continue the rest of the story on how we managed to figure out which image that we used to put onto the back of the jacket and actually show a finished jacket. And as I said, when we made these things, they were pretty darn expensive. They're like $300 to make just one jacket. And if I remember right, the image that we ended up picking, like this kind of an image, you can kind of imagine you would have to stitch this kind of an image with different thread and different kind of stuff and whatever. And by the time we actually got it done, it would take like 56,000 stitches across, I think, 5 colors or 5 thread colors to actually stitch an image onto the back of it. But I'll finish that story when I actually do that in another episode. Okay, so what you want to do right now is go down below and click like and click subscribe, and then you'll get more episodes as we show more things from our archives and basically tell you what happened back in the sort of the golden era of anime. Okay, so until next time, see you again.